Fridays were like torture, and then so were Saturdays, because they would overproduce the show.
Meaning they'd have more skits.
They would have more sketches than they really should have, build more scenery, and then suddenly they would add stuff, which used to make me crazy. So you thought you were going to get out, and then suddenly they decided they would write another sketch, or there'd be another sketch would come in. And I used to go crazy over that, and I used to speak out against it and yell at Kenny and say, and Davey did too many times. I'd say, what the hell is this? You know, we're supposed to be out of here now, and you want to block another sketch, that kind of thing. I was always outspoken about everything, and critical. And I don't know how they put up with me, but they did. But I wasn't rude. I was just used to say, you know, this is insane, and why are we doing this? I mean, I remember spending long times with Jack Handy's Toots the Cat, doing pre-tapes on a Friday night till all hours, trying to get a puppet to shave or a cat to shave and stuff like that. I said, what the hell is this like, you know? But I loved Jack Handy. He was a nice guy. He'd be in the back there trying to stand in the back of us. Then Saturday would be another kind of torture, especially between Dress and Air, when Lorne would totally revamp the show.
What do you mean totally revamp
He
the
would
show?
He'd have a meeting that would begin about 11:15, if you were lucky, and it had to be over by 11 o'clock because you had to get ready. And he'd be up there like presiding over these notes, and you would be scrambling to put your script in order. That was the biggest fear, that you would sit there, be on the air live, and your script wouldn't be in the right order. So that when you turned the page, you weren't in the right spot, and you were always flying one cue to the next.
You talk about it.
They call it flying. Davey used to use the expression flying. We're flying. Well, what he meant was we don't know what the hell we're doing. Because everything changed. The blocking changed. The shots changed. So even when things would go wrong, you know, and if I did something wrong, I'd apologize. I'd say, we were flying.
Did Ebersol do that? Did Ebersol
No. Ebersol was more, he would just be impulsive about it. And he decided he wanted something, and he would just feel that it's up to you guys to make it work. You couldn't say to him, but the blocking is being changed big time here, you know. He didn't care. You'd have camera meeting and go over the shots, change the shots around.
So, I mean, just to put it in context, the dress rehearsal happens at 10 p.m. on Saturday night, and it ends at little before 11 with you going on the air again live at
No, it
11:30.
always ends by a little after 10 or 10 o'clock.
Oh, it ends by 10 o'clock.
Yeah, then,
So you have like an hour and a half
exactly.
to
But
basically do what? Like,
Lorne meets first with his writers and associate producers and producers like Steve Higgins. Then he calls up the rest of the team, principal people, technical director, AD director, associate director, the two associate directors, well, one associate director. I don't go to those meetings anymore, but when I was principal AD, I did. And they're all in there, and he's giving notes, and page this, we're going to, and the PA will come in and cross out this speech, that speech. So you'll go from page 18, the bottom speech on page 18 to the bottom speech on page 19 or whatever. In the middle of cross speeches out. And PAs are scrambling now to retime the show. We always go in wrong with time, always.
really?
Yeah.
By how much, usually?
Lorne doesn't seem to care about that. He worries about it on the air. We can go in like 5-6 minutes over for a live show.
So then will something get cut just last minute? You won't
Yeah,
know
he'll
until...
cut stuff. Sometimes he'll collapse. There are certain islands that can be collapsed where there was formerly an act, he gets rid of the act. Say between 6 and 7 are being, position 6 and 6A are being collapsed. So in other words, he'll kill that sketch, maybe a 4-minute sketch. He picks up 4 minutes right there, gets rid of the whole sketch, and then we collapse the commercial.
How much is he? Is he in the control room with you? Where is he
No,
during the
he's
show?
never in the control room. He's out on the floor. He produces from the floor.
And so he's calling. He will like. When does he let you know that something was live cut?
He lets it know through the coordinating producer, Ken Among, and the PAs, who are keeping time.
So your role during the live show when you were principal AD is what? We saw some of the tape of you sitting next to Dave Wilson, and you're pointing to his script as he's flying, and you're trying to. What was your responsibility?
Cueing sound effects, cueing music. Sometimes rolling with Paul Bill. I had to roll all the tapes. Cueing graphics. Making the changes on the graphics during the update, stuff like that. Getting them on and off the air on time, in and out of commercial on time.
Is that in your head, or how do you keep track of the time?
No. You can't do that in your head. When you have a control studio, and then you're on with the AD on the other end, who also keeps tab of how much is left. You know, I do it too, but if I get distracted with something else, he or she will let me know that we're going to switch it back in 15 seconds and that kind of thing. You'll be back, because when that commercial ends, they just switch us back and we're back on the air. So we have to be ready to do whatever we're supposed to do.
Have you ever not been ready?
Yeah, we're pretty much ready, but sometimes weird things happen. Once I counted back the network, and I was wrong in my count, and I cued the stage manager to cue the talent. It was Joe Dixon. And I looked at the network, and we were still in commercial. Control studio hadn't switched us back yet. So I panicked, and I just yelled to the stage manager, stopped them and regrouped them. I didn't even say anything to Davey. And he looked at me. I says, I counted wrong. And Joey did stop them and regroup them, and then we were back. We queued, and there was no outage on the air. Later, when I went to apologize to them, they told me they didn't care. They said, Bobby, we didn't care. He said, Joey cued us, we performed. He stopped us, we stopped. He said,
Go again, you go.
Reset, we reset. He cued us again, we performed. And we're so nice about it. Because that's embarrassing.